People of the internets, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, as always, Murpho, and I am here talking to you guys about the Sony PlayStation E3 2017 press conference, reacting and reviewing, giving my hot take on the press conference. As you guys know, I've already discussed the Ubisoft press conference and the PC gaming show. I did not have a chance to discuss Bethesda, EA, or Microsoft over the weekend because I was busy. However, we're breaking down Sony right now, and I gotta say something, guys. Press conference was kind of underwhelming, disappointing. I want to say meh, but it wasn't bad. There were a lot of trailers that were really good, and the trailers that were there were good. The problem was that there was nothing else other than trailers. There was no talking whatsoever. With EA, for example, they did a few gameplay videos and stuff, and a lot of talking. This was the exact polar opposite. Too much gameplay, not enough talking about the games themselves and extra things outside the trailer, breaking down what we saw in the trailer. Not a lot of gameplay demos. It was a problem. There were a lot of issues with this press conference that I had, and for the first time ever, Sony has not won the PlayStation, the E3, like, best presser nod, or at least in my mind, that award, the Murpho Internal Brain Award thingy-majigger. And there were a lot of problems. Not just the trailer thing, too. Another problem was that a lot of their reveals happened, or a fair amount of their reveals, some of them happened in a pre-show that started at 8 o'clock when the actual presser started at 9 Eastern time, that is. 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Pacific. Such as stuff like this new game, Hidden Agenda, which is part of this new, I believe it's Play Life. Play Link. This new game, Hidden Agenda, by the guys who made Until Dawn, supermassive games, with this new game, Hidden Agenda, which is supposed to be a crime thriller, very similar to Until Dawn. However, you can use your phone to basically vote. You can play by yourself or with 5 friends, and you can vote on what decisions to make during the game. They say that they use this based on what they saw with streamers reacting and using their chat to help them make decisions. And it also allows people to get actual hidden agendas on their phone that they conceal from the rest of the players and try to act out during the course of the game. Very interesting as a part of Hidden Link. One of the different games, Hidden Link acts as kind of like a second screen thing, or use your phone as the controller, which is interesting. However, I feel like second screen technology is kind of like almost like a trend or a fad that's gone already. It's a past tech fad or a bygone technology that isn't really used anymore, so I don't know how useful that'll be. But still, the guys who made Until Dawn, they're making a new game, and you keep that off of your announcement, off of your presser. Also, Ni no Kuni got a release date for November 10th. That was before announced before that. And there were a few other things that got revealed as well that I just can't seem to find down here. But let me see if I can find other stuff. Blah 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 blah. Tropico 6 is coming, but that was beforehand. What else am I looking for? The PlayStation Experience got announced for December. That happened beforehand. Undertale coming to PS4. That happened beforehand. Super Hot heading to VR, PSVR. That came beforehand. Knack coming September 29th. Knack 2. That fell back to the pre-show. Like, all this stuff fell to a pre-show that would have benefited from being on the show. Like, they could have made the show an extra half hour longer and included this stuff, and a lot more eyes would have seen it. And then we get to the main show. Let's break it down. It started off with the Uncharted: The Lost Legacy game, which stars Nadine and Chloe from Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 2 and 3 respectively. The two of them going on an adventure themselves and trying to find a treasure. They play off each other really well. There's witty banter. You don't know if they're going to get along or if they might even betray each other throughout the course of the game. There's good, that sense of Uncharted adventure and exotic locales and puzzle solving is there. Like I said, the humor with the witty banter is there and the action is there. So that was really cool. But no discussion after that. It was just the trailer. We moved right along. We then got a reveal for a Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, the Frozen Wilds. That's cool. That's a reveal. That really doesn't need too much of discussion, but again, just a trailer, nothing else. We moved on. Then we got Days Gone, which did have a gameplay thing, which was really cool. Days Gone, if you don't remember, was that zombie game from last year that had the massive hordes of zombies just swarming our protagonist. In this one, a member of his group has been captured, and he has to go find the rival group that captured him and rescue him. So you travel through, you're killing these people from the enemy group, making your way through hanging zombies. It's meant to be a trap to keep people from getting in. You get through, you kill one of the zombies. You find these other people who are in a camp who seem innocent enough, but your main character's got to go past them. So like a dick, he takes a rock, throws it towards a bear trap, which gets somebody to investigate. He gets his legs caught in a bear trap. He's screaming in pain, and that lures a horde of zombies. You walk away, massive horde. You watch this massive swarm of zombies head over towards them, and you hear those people scream as they're getting eaten alive. You don't see it. Then you walk a little bit of a ways. You find another horde of zombies feasting on other dead bodies. Make your way to a stream. You find this gate. It's blocking the stream off, and I guess hopefully keeping hordes from knowing that there are people there. There you find your friend being held hostage. There's a structure that's just like a campground underneath, and then like a roof or a platform. It's a flat platform, and the leader of their group, I guess, is beating up and interrogating your friend. So you make a loud noise. I can't remember how you do it. I don't think you threw a rock. I think you might have like fired a gun or done something like that, and it draws the horde. And the horde crashes through the gate, swarms these guys. They have guns, so they're shooting and running as they're going and getting slaughtered. The horde chases them away, chases after them. You go up onto the platform. There's a little standoff. You tell the guy, "Oh, I really want you, not your hostage, not my dude. I don't care if you kill him." Your friend headbutts him. You shoot him. You kill him. Then they both talk about like, oh, that was close, and it was like I was kidding. I didn't mean to take you. And then you hear a roar, and there is a zombie bear wrapped in barbed wire, which is badass. About to staring them down and about to attack them, and the demo ends. Really cool. However, it's over. Nobody comes out. Nobody talks about it. Nobody tells you about the details, what you saw, the context, who these characters are. You also get to drive a motorcycle. That was cool, but no explanation whatsoever about the game, what it is. You really don't get a lot of context or details about the world, what the gameplay is like, what the systems are like, what causes that awesome horde AI. And we move on to the next game. The next game, I believe, was Call of Duty World War II. We got to see some gameplay of that, or actually... well, I'll get to this, and then I'll get to the one that was actually after that. Again, cool. We got to see stuff. We got to see like some first-person perspective of the game. I got to see both sides. We got to see these cool environments, just destruction, planes crashing into buildings. I don't think those were piloted by anybody. However, there was no HUD, so didn't get a real true feel for the multiplayer, and it was all stylized, angled, special shots. And again, once the trailer was over, that was it. Nothing else. No other info. Activision didn't come on stage to talk about it. And we moved on. We also saw something from Monster Hunter World, which was cool. I mean, Monster Hunter is not my thing, but again, you just saw a little bit of gameplay of this battle. You didn't really see a HUD or anything. And again, like just a trailer, we moved on. Then we got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Badass. Awesome. This game looks amazing because it's a Marvel vs. Capcom game with a story that looks fun. Basically, Sigma from Capcom, Ultron from Marvel have merged together into Ultron Sigma. They are a huge threat, and they're searching for the Infinity Stones or gems. They call them by another word. I think it's the Infinite Six or whatever in this game. And the Marvel heroes and the Capcom heroes have to unite to find them. And who are they interrogating to find them? Who they've captured? Thanos. Thanos is confirmed in the game, which is awesome. We also get Gamora confirmed. We get Dante from Devil May Cry is confirmed. Zero from Mega Man X is confirmed. Nova and Black Panther are also confirmed. Thanos tells them the location of some of the stones because they say, oh, these guys are a challenge to you and they want these stones. He's like, nobody's a challenge to me. Find the stones and I'll prove it to you. So they go out to find the stones. Ultron Sigma crashes Avengers Tower, and we get teased this amazing fight between Thanos and Ultron Sigma that I hope we get to play on as Thanos because that'll be badass. And then it closes out with Rocket Raccoon getting Ebony and Ivory, Dante's guns, and shooting them up in the air at enemies, which is awesome. That was just an amazing fanboy moment right there. But again, Capcom didn't come out on stage. That was it. It was over. On to the next game. You're noticing a trend here. In case you weren't aware, you're noticing a little trend here. They're not talking about the game at all. They're just doing trailer, which worked last year because there were a lot of exclusives and reveals. So it's the first time we're seeing it, but this is the second time we're seeing it, and we know what the game is, so we want to see more. Anyway, we move on. God of War, the new one, also got a trailer. We had to see new stuff. We had to see Kratos with his son out on the ocean. Kratos throws his axe into the ocean as if to summon something, and then we pick up on that later towards the end of the trailer. We get a little more flavor text. Kratos has apparently left Greece to go up to Scandinavia. We don't know why because the trailer doesn't explain it. His baby mama, who might be his new wife, who is Scandinavian, warns him he shouldn't come up here and shouldn't venture up here or linger up here or go on this quest with his son because the Norse gods will not smile upon him. They will not look kindly on him because of who he is. I think that's meant to be just he's Greek or a Greek god, but he's also Kratos. He's also known for slaughtering all of the other Greek gods, including his God of War predecessor and the entire pantheon, Zeus, all of them. Then we see some combat, which is really cool, but again, stylized, no HUD, of him hacking some people up. We see some other characters. We don't know if they're Norse gods or not because they didn't really show any Norse gods. They didn't announce anybody as a Norse god. Nobody looked like their traditional Norse god, either through how they're depicted in mythology or how they appear in the Marvel universe. Nothing similar to that. We couldn't tell. They were just random characters. And then the game ends, or the trailer ends, with the giant world serpent, or Leviathan, emerging from the waters. The world serpent from Norse mythology is this giant snake or like snake or eel type creature that's as big as the earth. Its entire body goes along the circumference of the earth, and it lives entirely in the sea. So I guess Kratos summoned it by throwing his axe in the river. It comes out, spits out his axe, and its head is massive. Like Kratos' axe, when it spits it out, is like this big in its mouth at first. And then it speaks, and Kratos' son can hear what it says. It says, it wants to help us. What? With what does it want us to help you with? Your quest? What is your quest? Where are the Norse gods? Are you trying to kill the Norse gods? What are you trying to do? We don't know. Trailer ends. Nobody comes out to talk about it. We move on to the next trailer, which is Destiny 2. Destiny 2, we get a cool little exposition of Gaul. We get to hear him talk. We learn more about what he's about. He is jealous of the Guardians having light. He feels like he deserves it for all the war and conquering he's done. He feels like Guardians don't deserve it. He wrecks some Guardians. And then he mentions to the Guardians, you have no fear of death. That's because in Destiny, the light is used to explain why you always respawn, why you never die, why you always come back to life. So he says, I will reintroduce you to that fear, and kicks a Titan Guardian off of the tower to plummet to his death, which was really cool. Then we got a detailing of PlayStation exclusives coming to Destiny in video form. Again, in video form. Not announced, not talked to, but just relayed in video form. Which is, the game is releasing 2 days early on PlayStation, which is huge. Coming out September 6th as opposed to September 8th. It's getting a exclusive strike, exclusive multiplayer map, exclusive exotic, and exclusive armor, and an exclusive ship. But then that was it. Bungie didn't come out. Activision come out. We didn't find out anything about, say, the beta or anything, or any additional information. Like, this is the problem that I've had with a lot of this stuff with the games, is that, you're not finding out, like with Destiny 2, I wanted to know, like, more about the multiplayer, more about the classes. I wanted to know, what can we see the European Dead Zone? Can we see the social spaces? This game coming out in a few months. In 3 months, it's coming out, and we barely have any information on it. And we're not being told it at E3 in the press conference. We're just being shuffled off to the next trailer, and this felt really impersonable, this entire press conference. Anyway, we got a couple more stuff introduced that I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. We got a new Detroit trailer where it seemed, if you don't remember Detroit, Become Human, that's from Quantic Dream, the makers of Heavy Rain. They came out, and they didn't come out, but there was of course, because nobody came out tonight, there was a trailer that we saw last year. It was about a AI, like cyborg type or android detective trying to figure out something, and then he confronts the killer. You can choose different paths. This time you played as a different character, someone who is inciting an android revolution. You and this other android have to determine how you're going to evade the police, shut down all the systems for the store that's selling the androids, wake up all the androids, rally them to your cause, decide how you're going to protest, be it violently or peacefully, and then you see how those actions play out in the aftermath. And it looks like player decision is going to factor heavily into this game. It looks really cool, but again, trailer ended, that was it. Nothing extra. Nothing else. And then we closed out the show with Spider-Man. And Spider-Man was a gameplay demo, a full-on gameplay demo. I mean, we didn't have anybody come out and talk over it or describe the game at all, but at least we got a gameplay demo, which was more than what we could say about a lot of the games here. We got to see Spider-Man quipping his way through beating up baddies. Stealth option where the web shooters had multiple different things. You could have a sensor where if somebody ran past it, it would snag them. You could knock objects down that would swing and knock people out, like a crane hook or an actual crane thing that you could pull on and swing and knock people down. You could web shoot people to walls, to the floor, bring them up to punch them and stuff like that to knock them out stealth wise. And then the combat, which the stealth is too, was very much like the Arkham games, where you're, instead of like a stun with a cape, you were using your web shooter to cover the person's face in web, so they had to take all the web off, and you were jumping around and hitting combos and flipping and disarming people and everything, and it felt very Arkham-like, which is fine because Arkham, I think, is the pinnacle. What Rocksteady did with that series is the pinnacle of what you can do with superhero action games. Best type of system you can do. You just got to modify it to suit the superhero you're playing as, which it works with Spider-Man. And instead of all the different gadgets, you have different ways to use your web to take people down. We saw an appearance from Wilson Fisk, who is in the game. He's behind bars, but apparently this guy who is leading his group known as the Demons, they're trying to move in on Wilson Fisk's turf, presumably maybe to stop Fisk and his influence in New York City, but they're doing so violently, so Spider-Man wants to stop him. The leader is this character who wielded some sort of weird energy blade. I do not know him from the Rogues Gallery of Spider-Man. He might be new, or he might be from the Ultimate series. But apparently works for a charity organization, and Spider-Man knows him and wants to stop him, but he says that it has to be done. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to stop Fisk. We see the helicopter that he tries to take off in a helicopter. Spider-Man tries to stop him, and he rips off this thing which seemed like a cooling system on top of the building, knocks over this massive stories high crane, and this awesome scene happens with quick action, quick time events where Spider-Man has to slow down the crane and then web stick it to all these different buildings to keep it from crashing and careening into the streets of New York City. Then he engages, goes after the helicopter. We see this interesting little billboard that says Osborn for mayor. So I don't know if it's Harry or Norman. I would assume it's Norman, but maybe it's Harry. One of the Osborn kin are running for the mayor of New York City. That billboard gets destroyed. You finally ensnare the helicopter between two skyscrapers. The tail gets ripped off. You have to stop the tail from crashing into civilians. Then you have to basically web shooter the hell out of the helicopter as it's crashing to the ground to basically catch it in a web before it hits the ground. And then that ends. And then the press conference ended. They showed a recap of everything, and then it came back to Spider-Man after the fact, and we saw Miles Morales, the ultimate Spider-Man, the second Spider-Man now in the current continuity. He is in the game, and I really hope we get to see him become Spider-Man, because that would be amazing. And I want to see him become Spider-Man alongside Peter Parker. I don't want to see Peter Parker die. I want to see those two working together and kicking ass as two Spider-Man, because that would be amazing. But again, as excited as I was for that gameplay demo or anything, nobody came out afterwards. We didn't hear anything. Nobody was talking over the demo, and that was it. We pretty much got Sony's the PlayStation executive, I can't remember his name, coming out, introducing the conference. Trailer. He came out again. Spider-Man trailer. Conference over. We also saw some more VR stuff, which was meh. There was this cool game with this mouse that was it looks like an adventure title that kids can play that looks like fun. But aside from that, we saw the side scroller that was kind of meh, the shooter that was kind of meh, Final Fantasy 15 fishing VR, which of all the things, you chose fishing, the most boring thing out of Final Fantasy 15, and make it into a VR game. And so that was the Sony PlayStation conference. Like, not a lot of flash, really not that. I don't want to say not that good, because the trailers were good, and I did get hype, and I did get excited about those games, but I didn't really feel that jaw-dropping excitement, or I didn't feel as excited about the games if I learned more. I felt like I got shortchanged on these games. I only got trailers. We didn't get actual demonstrations of the games in action as they are in full. We didn't get juicy bits of information about the stories of these games, the motivations of these characters, game modes, all this kind of stuff that was in all the other press conferences. Like, this was the strategy that Sony went with last year that slayed, but that was because you had big debuts and big reveals in that. And I mean, nothing summed up the feel or sense for the PlayStation conference than after the Miles Morales reveal, Sony panned to the crowd as if they were expecting some massive applause like they got last year, and instead it was just people quietly getting up and walking out of the theater. And they had to cut to their guy in the theater early to start talking about what happened afterwards, which is horrible. If I had to rank Sony this year, it definitely did. It lost to Microsoft this year. This is the first time Microsoft has won over Sony at E3. We still have Nintendo, so who knows what Nintendo's going to do if they're going to win. Right now, if I would have to rank them, I would say Ubisoft probably had the best conference, followed closely behind by Microsoft. Microsoft might have had the better one. Then I would say Bethesda maybe, and Sony, they're both really there. Maybe Sony edges them out because they had the better content and the better trailers. Because they both suffered from the same problem of just video. At least with Bethesda, though, with some of them, they actually talked about mechanics and stuff. And then EA's at the bottom, not because EA was bad, just because I feel like they had too much talking, not enough gameplay, or trailers. Like, it was kind of like EA, and if you take the EA and do the press conference from this year and have it do a fusion dance with the Sony press conference, you would have the perfect press conference. But they were both on opposite ends of the spectrum. But that's my long take on the Sony press conference. Lots of really good stuff that I am excited for, but I am disappointed by the lack of talking about the games and information about the games outside of the trailers and gameplay demos. Because it seems like, basically, if you're not there at E3 and you don't have an appointment at E3 to see those games, you're SOL. You gotta wait for the video, maybe wait for during E3 for those video kind of demo things where they're talking on interviews with people from IGN and GameSpot. Because it's not going to be there. Or if you're Sony's case, maybe you have to wait until PSX, which sucks. But that's my take on Sony. Be sure to check out my Ubisoft and PC Gaming Show breakdowns. PC Gaming Show, I would probably put down by EA, either above or below if I'm ranking them right now. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be doing Nintendo, so be sure to keep a lookout for Nintendo. I will be live reacting that on Twitch. If you want to see my live reactions as they happen to Sony, Bethesda, and the PC Gaming Show, head on over to my twitch.tv/LMurpho. That's my channel name, L_Murpho. I just became an affiliate, so good news there. All good things there. Be sure to head over and join in the discussion in the chat when I do my normal gameplay stuff. Check out those reactions. I'll hopefully be doing Nintendo reactions as well. Live as the Nintendo event happens. And also, this Friday on the Super Grapple Bros podcast on Twitch, it'll probably be hitting the YouTube peeps. It'll be hitting YouTube here on Saturday. Be sure to check that out as well, where I will be probably going more in depth about all this stuff on Sony as well as all the other stuff there. So be sure to check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the view. If you like this video, if you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button, become part of my notification squad, and if you head over to patreon.com/LMurpho, I appreciate you even more for that as well. Again, thank you for watching, and until I see you all again as I move my mouse over to the recording, I don't know where my mouse is, over here. Thank you all so much. Until I see you again, may your game be true.